All right, everybody, what's going on? Will here from the Will C Show. Listen, second episode, second installment. We'll just do it right now. This episode is brought to you by nobody. I do want to give a shout out. I just started reading this book, and Three Ring Circus. If you haven't, I'm like still early into it, obviously. But by the way, bookmark is a Garfield bookmark. So yes, I'm hot stuff. No, but seriously. If you haven't, Jeff Pearlman, we've had Jeff Pearlman on the On the Board Sports podcast, and, you know, he writes some really great books. The Three Ring Circus is definitely one of them. And right now, like I said, I'm just getting into it, and the writing style, just the whole story of how the Laker dynasty in the early 2000s started was just absolutely unbelievable. We all know about Kobe getting drafted, everything of the sort. Shaq signing over there, but it gives you a great pre-story, if you will, of the pre-dynasty Laker years. So, interesting book. If you haven't already thus far, I'm on like page 20. Go buy it. Really interesting stuff. And I am a Laker fan, so even if you're not a Laker fan, still a great read. Anyway, to get back to the team right here. This is episode 2. It's an installment here. And the Islanders right now, they're at the crossroads right now, right? We went over Andrew Ladd and Nick Leddy going over and getting traded from the Islanders for essentially cap space. And that's pretty much about it. Trying to re-sign some pretty important players. I think today we heard a rumor. We've seen a rumor. A story anyway that kind of it should hold some weight with regards to Anthony Beauvillier. Montreal may sign him to that RFA deal. He is from Montreal. He has scored some big goals up in Montreal, and the Quebec native really, grew up liking the Habs. So for those of you that don't know, Anthony Beauvillier is my favorite Islander. And while that's not what I want to talk to you about, it's something to lead off with, and something that he's a key piece to this Islander team. He's a key piece to that second line. He's a guy that's fast. He's a guy that can go out there and forecheck with the best of them. And that Game 6 goal just basically shows you everything that you need to know about Anthony right there in a nutshell. So that's first and foremost. Does he re-sign? I think so. But again, at what price does Montreal throw that offer sheet out there? Is it $6-7 million to go out there and get one of the better players in the NHL, because of the fact that he does everything right? So, if you want him to kill penalties, he killed penalties with Doug Weight, and he found his way there. He could be a guy that's a second shot option, and he's one of the fastest skaters, if not, he's up there as far as being the fastest skater in the league. But switch topics from Anthony to the Kraken, to the draft, to this expansion draft. And with everything going on, every Islander fan right now is a little nervous. There was a report yesterday, Christian Arnold, shout out to you for breaking the story and basically, sending all of Twitter into a frenzy, and sending all of this Islander nation into a frenzy because of everything that has gone on with this team and with Josh Bailey. And the Kraken might take him. If Josh Bailey does go to Seattle, listen, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. He is one of my favorite Islanders. Not the favorite, but one of my favorites, between the "Hey, Josh Bailey," ooh, ah, sitting in 329 all the time, man. Hearing that, sometimes I start up the chant. It's during some games. It's pretty cool to see that. But if Josh does get taken, and I want to see this guy literally stay here as an Islander forever, but it's sports, and if he doesn't stay, he doesn't stay. It would be heartbreaking a little bit, but if he goes over and he gets a captaincy role up in Seattle, good for him in that sense, in that regard. But realistically, more so, just the draft in general and what that could bring over. We talked about Josh Bailey, Jordan Eberle, first line winger. A lot of people, I'm like half on him at this point. If he stays, great. If he leaves, then it's like, what are you going to do at that point? But I really want to see Eberle and Bailey here just to stick it right to, the people out there that are just basically saying, let him go. He's not good. He hasn't lived up to it. He's scored plenty of playoff goals. And say what you want about Uncle Leo and say what you want about the first line in the playoffs. Jordan Eberle did score some pretty clutch goals over the course of time at that same time frame. Now, is he a guy that's going to go out there and light the world on fire? He's one of the streakiest players, just like Anthony Beauvillier. He's a very streaky player, in my honest opinion. But when you look at everything, when you're watching everything right now, the Islanders, they need to go out and try and get this core back together. I think Lou Lamoriello has said it. I think Lou has said his piece on the matter and how he wants to bring this core back. Yes, there might be some tinkering of the roster here a little bit to an extent, but I don't see any in-house options coming up. Guys like Kiefer Bellows, Sebastian Aho, Ross Johnston, if you will, Thomas Hickey. I don't see anybody taking that third line left winger spot or that 6D man role at that point. What I will say to you is, for anybody out there that's watching this, and for anybody out there that has retweeted it and everything like that, I thank you. But when it comes to the Islanders right now, here's the deal. They are a win-now team. This group has 2 years, maybe 2.5 max at that point. And then you break it up and you see what happens after that. But right now, with everything going on, and you see who the Kraken have at a chance to draft from the Islander roster that wasn't protected. You got Michael Dalcol, Kiefer Bellows, Sebastian Aho, Thomas Hickey, Leo Komarov. Joshua Ho-Sang is on that list, I believe, even though he's an unrestricted free agent. It's still, it's Josh Ho-Sang, okay? But if you're Ron Francis, and Ron Francis has come out and said that he wants to not take high-priced players. You're going to see guys with a high ceiling, like maybe third line, second line guys, getting taken, and Kiefer Bellows can be that guy that can be taken. That gets to the dirty areas, can shoot, can handle the puck. He could be a winger center to an extent, throw the body around, everything like that. We got to see it in some flashes during the season, but in all reality, with the Islanders right now and with the Kraken, who they might draft, don't be surprised if Kiefer Bellows gets taken. Don't be surprised. And that's pretty much about it. But if you're an Islander fan right now, I really wouldn't be nervous. And then with Jordan Eberle, to get back to Eberle, maybe there's a deal on the side that you might not see Uncle Leo here anymore. You may not see Thomas Hickey here anymore. And it is what it is from that perspective. It is what it is. Uncle Leo's a great clubhouse guy. We all know that. We all learn to appreciate and love that. And he played relatively well during this whole cup run. But you need scoring here at this point in time. And if there's a way to unload Eberle and you could get back, more cap space, and you could try and add on, a first line winger in that regard, watch out. That's all I gotta say. Just absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, watch out for what Lou Lamoriello does. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting. Anyway, on that note, Follow The Will C Show at The Will C Show on Instagram. That's TheWill. C is in the letter C. SHOW. Follow myself at Will Chiarucci, at WILLCHIARUCCI on Instagram and Twitter. And you can always follow me. You can always follow the On the Board Sports podcast on social media as well. So that's ONTHEBOARDSPORTS on Instagram, On the Board Sport without the S on Twitter. Thank you guys for joining me again. Really appreciate you. And like I said before, expect anything come tomorrow. Peace out.